You know, Baruch Hashem, I could learn. You have to be a people person in order to learn. You just can't, just learn by yourself without communicating with other people. That was my disability. That was the beginning of, that was my disability. And I had a lot of setbacks, but now it's part of my life. It's like food. I have to do it in order to live. I can't live without it. But the learning is a big part of my life.
Unless you do Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim from the Kior. Now, where was the Kior?
Between the Mizbeach
and Koshko. So it was all the way there, at the other end of the Azara, just in front.
You would think that when you start Daf Yomi, you're doing it to be Kivei Yitim L'Torah, but the Daf Yomi is actually Kivei your life, because the Daf Yomi builds on you in the Torah. Your children and your family see that you have a commitment to Torah, and that builds on your life, and every day gets more and more and more that commitment, and therefore you as a person change.
And obviously for our children, we're trying to have, we want them to be raised to love Torah and to love mitzvahs and to have a relationship with Hashem. So role modeling and, living that way ourselves is the greatest way to raise our children.
I see a very big impact on my family in the past 20 years, that they see their father going out every night to learn.
It gives me a lot of pleasure to see that my kids are really shepping nachas from their father, to see that their father sits down and learns every day. It's something that I'm giving over to them, that they can see, yes, this is something that a person who's out there in the working world can still sit down and have time for learning.
שם הריון, כמו ילדנו רוח, זאת אומרת גם אפילו שהלידה בסופו של דבר הייתה לידה של רוח, זה נקרא מעוברת, זה נקרא הריון.
I think a tremendous debt of gratitude goes out to the women, particularly the wives of the men who are involved in this, because very often men take away time that rightfully would belong to their wives and their families, and to be on schedule for their classes at night or in the morning. And women gladly send their husbands out to do this. So any mitzvahs that accrue to the husbands and to the men for learning Torah, part of that mitzvah certainly goes to the women, and they have to feel a sense of pride and joy in being part of this worldwide experience.
For 20 years I've been going out every night and saying this shir and missing the crunch time at home, the bedtimes and the homeworks, and my wife has manned that responsibility. And in her schus and in the schus of thousands of other women like her, that is their schus helps keep the Daf Yomi dream and Limud HaTorah alive. A person is moyel in Kodshei Hashem. Kodshei Hashem comes in one of two main groups and then subgroups. The main groups of Kodshei Hashem are Kodshei Berek HaBayis, which is things that have Kodshei Berek HaBayis.
מבטח לוי שבאוילם הגוף שנאמן הליכוי אוילם לוי הבדיקה הליכוי אלה הלוכוי הדריים שתפן תנפות שלהם הכינור הדריים שתפן אבל אקסטסיה ein Satz von der nicht in der Meile ותשרישמה ופנינו לאחריה. Das berechtigt ein bisschen Beziehung in der Sache, noch uns beim Trischma.
You have gone through that which is the life source, that which is the totality of our understanding and reach and desires and hopes.
Sag zustellen zu die Avos. Ich kann mir doch nur zustellen zu die Avos. Ein hat etwas von meinen Avos. Ist die meisten Avos fordert sich am Messias Nefes verteidigen.
I was nisur by the past Siyum Hashas. I saw so many Klal Yisrael getting together and being Siyum Hashas. I wanted to be part of it. Since then, I've been learning Daf Yomi every day. And I've found that over the past 7.5 years, the amount of Torah, Gemara that I've been able to learn and retain has been significantly more than the previous 7.5 years.
After the last Siyum Hashas, I had a desire to start learning Daf Yomi.
I don't think I had intention to do it prior to going to the Siyum, but once I came back, it was immediate. I mean, I just started right away.
I was at the Siyum 7 years ago, and it was certainly exciting. But now having it all together in one place, I think, is even more exciting. And when you start thinking about the satellites and all the different places that are being Messiahim together, it's exciting to belong to such a thing.
I will say, Hadron Alecha, Talmud Bavli. Whoever heard such beautiful words, such sweet words, Hadron Alecha, Talmud Bavli.
Schussel von Ego, was ist Schussel von Ego? Weil ich weiß nicht, Schussel von Ego. So das ist so wichtig. Von deswegen denn ist, als der Chazuki de Mikure, du adin als macht dem Atome.
Because I need so halalisu. And you're going to be high for eating by Matmeya because you only ate a half a kazayis, so therefore cannot be combined one with each other. It's two different isurim. When does the Mishnah tell us that you could even combine Tahira?
und widmen und dem Siyum, da soll sein, dass sie können, für die Gdeischen. Ich muss euch sagen, als gerade ist heute Stammus, als hat Kufe, was Jahr nach Jahr, meint es bei uns, bei mir persönlich, ein schreckliches Überlebnis, dass der Heidesch, wenn man umgebracht Hels und alle ihre Gdeischen, umgebracht, die Yeshiva, die Stadt, die Roshi Yeshiva, mein größter Reben, der Pelzerhof, Shem in Köln Damöi. Der Krechts ist nicht auf Pels, der Krechts ist auf Preschburg, auf Warsche, auf Lemberg, auf Krakow, auf Frankfurt, auf wo ist ein Iden gewesen und auf dem der Krechts.
A little more than 15 years ago in Brooklyn, Shlomi Mistovsky was zeicha to finish Shas. He had learned Daf Yomi for 7.5 years, and his wife made him a beautiful party, a siyum, and many, many friends and family attended. One of the people that attended was Shlomi's younger brother, Shalom, from Norfolk, Virginia. He was so inspired by the whole idea of his brother learning Shas, and he was inspired by what his brother had to say, what it meant to learn Shas.
I was so inspired by hearing him talk and hearing other people talk about this that when I came back to Norfolk, I spoke to the Rav here in Norfolk, Rabbi Friedman, and decided that I told him I was going to start Daf Yomi, and he said he was going to join me, and through that we had other people joining, and from that we're about to finish our second cycle of Daf Yomi here in Norfolk, Virginia.
One of the people in that group was an 80-year-old man, Mr. Bernie Schloss, Hashem should bless him. Imagine an 80-year-old fellow has finished Shas twice.
When I first started doing Daf, I was coming early in the morning and doing a little learning by myself, and Shalom Mistovsky asked me to join the group, and I did.
I think people see us sitting here every single morning before they come to shul. When they come in, they see us sitting there. I think it just inspires everybody else. You know, whatever they're learning, it could be an English sefer, it could be with chavrusa, whatever it is. People are coming to the shul and learning. When you have a group of people every single day coming and making a commitment of learning, I think it just inspires other people, and it's just bringing everyone else out to learn also.
Hakoreyas HaMegillah L'Mafreya, if somebody reads the Megillah backwards. So he starts off with Haman getting hung, and then he goes all the way back to Esther becoming queen. Lo Yotze has not fulfilled his obligation. Kra al Peh, he read the Megillah by heart. Kra Targum, or if he read the translation of the Megillah.
The first day of Elul is going to be Rosh Hashanah for Ma'aseh Behema. When you tithe your animals, you're going to need to make sure that this year's animals don't get mixed up with last year's animals. When is Rosh Chodesh? When is Rosh Hashanah for that? First day of Elul. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon Omrim, Be'echad B'Tishrei. And Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon.
What I gained from this year is that now when I look up other Gemaras, or I'm learning other things throughout the day, as this is not my main focus of the day. I'm in Kailul and I learn two other starim. But when a Taisvis or other Rishainim or a Shayal Setshuva Sefer will bring down the Gemaras, especially now we're learning Kachim, which are far-flung, and especially Krisus, Bechiris, the Tamura, these Gemaras. So now I know what the Gemara is talking about, I know what the Rishainim are talking about, I have a greater understanding of what the Achrayim and the Paiskim are trying to bring as proofs or as questions to their idea and concept.
Eventually went out. They had a din Me'ilo D'Rabbanon, but ultimately, since the Beis HaMikdash got some revenue out of it, they were able to go and sell it and water the grass. Today they would go and sell it in Eichler's with a big sign of it. The dam from the Kabbanis is a big...
that it's tummy, it's a small amount, and it becomes mixed into a larger amount, and it becomes batel. The question is, if it's mixed together with more of that same type, can it be revitalized and make things tamei? We talked about this at two different levels. One is, if it's mixed with something of the same type.
mafchizda es vein auf popo sei wieder amal für tois psakaluche Toiro, without you I surely would die Lulei soiros
I was in very bad shape at liberation itself. I never thought that I would be able to survive it. 3 months after liberation that I started to be able to function as a human being.
After the war, my father discovered Daf Yomi in the early 1960s. It started with one chavrusa and quickly turned into a shiur that was very popular in Washington, D.C.
After about a year, I found that we had close to 10 people sitting around the table. And most of those people never saw a Gemara or never had anything to do with Gemara.
And his whole day was really framed by Daf Yomi. Preparation, chazara, actually giving the shiur, speaking to the people who entered the shiur, and it literally changed his life. And now my father has finished Shas 7 times.
All of these different things are considered to be Isuri Hana that have to be buried, and they are not min hanisrafim, and therefore, even though they rot and they fall apart, they still retain.
Something that I feel is the center of my life, that I have my whole day focused around this, that I have to be here at a certain time. I know I have to get out of my office at a certain time, drop what I'm doing.
My whole day is different as a result. I look forward to the daf every day. It's my vitamin for the soul.
It gives me chiyus and it gives me a lot of encouragement to get through the day, and my grandchildren always check on me and say, are you attending the Daf Yomi?
When I started learning Gemara in Daf Yomi with the explanation and the notes and all of the discussion that go along with it, all it does is encourage me more and more to keep on.
It doesn't matter which level you're on. Once you begin, you're going to only want to learn more, and it's something that makes you feel good.
Daf Yomi is contagious. Once you start, you just can't stop. I started about 14 years ago, and I considered at the last, when we finished the last time, I thought I would stop. Then I went to the Siyum, and it was just so inspirational. I just kept going, and here we are 7.5 years later.
Gemara study in general, and especially Daf Yomi, has impacted my working life. When I go to work, I find myself thinking in Gemara terms, and the what-ifs, and trying to think of the Hava Amina, really thinking in that way.
And when you finish a Masechta, it's a high, and then you finish another Masechta and another Masechta.
Ain't talking about Freya at all. No. How are we going to treat the tyrus that tummy? I did the Taisus with you. We're going to treat the tyrus the suffix, right? It's not Vadai tummy, it's suffix tummy, yeah?
I have a group of guys that get together to go over the last week's Shakel V'Tarvya of Daf Yomi, and where each person is responsible for one day. And by each person doing this, we're able to go through the whole Daf Yomi of the week in about an hour.
Amarav or Shila Amarav, Mas Namar Shmuel, Maisa. He's going to bring down additional cases.
It's not 95 days, that's being just 94 days.
So Rav Papa says, we see from here that when it says it's Korach, it's not really Korach that they're
Rabbi Yehuda Machshir, Rabbi Yehuda disagrees, Rabbi Yehuda holds that the sukkah is kshera, and the Gemara will explain the machlokes. V'she'ena gavaya asar tvachim, if the sukkah is not even 10 tvachim high, or v'she'en la shalosh tfanos, if the sukkah does not have 3 walls, v'shechamasa merua mitzilsa.
People who are learning a Daf Yomi early in the mornings, late in the evenings, at the off ends of the day, those are the people who are the backbones of the community. No different on some of them, those who are attending all the daily minyanim. And they are the people who make the community go each and every day. Among all the other learning that's going on, these are the key founding elements into a shul, is the Torah learning that's going on there. And these people who make up these regular shiurim are at the heart of that, whether people know it or not or realize it that that's the case, but they're really what makes the shul go on a day in and day out basis.
Even though people have busy days and long days and they're exhausted, but they know they got to be there, because if you miss one day, it just piles up one after the other, and people are there because that commitment, they've made that commitment, and it creates that type of kviyas itim that is necessary for somebody who doesn't have the structure of a first Seder, second Seder, night Seder.
Matzah's Pesach, when it's very hard to come to such a shir, and you see 30 people come out, the whole shir was here on time, 40 minutes after Shkia, I'm sure with their wife's permission, and we delved into the shir as if it was a regular night.
הוא עובר שבוע שלם, הוא טבל שם כלים, נשים טבלו שם, התעסקו אחרי זה בטהרות, התעסקו כמו מקווה רגיל שמתעסקים רגיל, והם התקדמו עם המקווה. גמרו להתקדם עם המקווה, שבוע שלם המקווה מופעל, אחרי שבוע עושים בדיקה נוספת.
My Rebbe Muvchak, Rav Noach Weinberg Zatzal, was very strong in conveying that we have a chiyuv to learn Kol Torah Kula. The idea of not only seeing all of Shas, but learning all of Shas and having access to all of Shas.
When I was in yeshiva, no matter how much I was learning, but there were masechtas that you never got to, and there were things that I heard about, and I just dreamed of being more familiar with them, and all of a sudden I have a shaykhis to Torah, to Kol Torah Kula, in a certain manner of speaking.
Nest, so we assume that it belongs to the Bala Shevach. But if you find it outside of 50 Amma, Hareo Shamaitza, we say it doesn't come from that nest, but rather it belongs to the Maitza, it belongs to the one who finds it. Nimtza bein shnei shayvchais, if you find it between 2 shayvchais, 2 dovecoats.
Past records, if you know it's a firstborn, you treat it like a firstborn. If you don't know, so then you treat it like a suffix and you let it graze till it gets blemished, and then you eat it. And if you know for sure that it has other children, there's nothing to talk about.
There I was, sick in bed, racked with pain from cancer. but giving me hope and strength during the difficult time was the daf. My chavrusa would come to the hospital and we would learn together and would lift me up and it would give me hope every day. I remember it was the time of Psachim, and I always have an affinity for Maseches Psachim because that was the Masechta during the most difficult time of treatment. It was a tremendous chizuk to think that here we were in this kind of setting, sitting and learning the daf.
Beginning of Masechta Avodah Zorah, the Gemara tells us the Rabbanu Shalom Hashem Yisborach learns Torah with little children, and Rashi explains Tinokas Shemesu Bekatnusam. These are the children that Lo Aleinu, Lo Aleichem died when they were still young. Now let us think for one horrifying minute of the 1 million Jewish children. I say 1 million Jewish children amongst the 6 million who were Mesu Bekatnusot. That means they were massacred and sacrificed when they were still young. I once read that somebody who miraculously escaped from inside a gas chamber heard the cry of a young boy imploring his mother, Mama, bin ich nicht allemal gewesen a guter Jingel? Mother, wasn't I always a good boy? At that very moment, when this holy neshama expired, the Rabbanu Shalom took it up, Kavayochel, into his arms, saying to him, Och, mein Kind, yes, you were always a good child. From now on, I shall take you into my arms, and I shall become your Rebbe. I shall learn with you. You should learn in my Mesivta Shel Maila, together with your brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers, Hashem Yikam Domam. And so we dedicate this Siyum to them, to all the Gedoshim, Utahorim Shemosra Nafsham Al Kiddush Hashem.
Or Kachim Bachutz, or he shechted Kachim, which is obviously can't be done outside, but he did it outside instead of being inside the Azara. Or Chayav Of Haniskalim, or if it was a wild animal, a chaya, an undomesticated animal, or a bird, Haniskalim, that should be
right, surrounding like a ches. You see the Heichel Kodesh Kedoshim. You have the little rooms which are marked number 67, 67, 67. If you see that, just going all around, going from Mizrach to Ma'ariv, right? They're going across the Ma'ariv side on top.
It's a major thing, the unity, all the Jews of the world, wherever they are, America, Australia, South America, they are participating in the same was the purpose of Meir Shapiro.
Learning the Daf Yomi, not just learning any Seder, being part of so many people learning the same thing every day, and meeting people who are learning the Daf Yomi who I don't even know, to be able to discuss the Daf and answer a question or ask a question.
It's a connection. You're part of something greater than who you are. You're connecting to the teachers of the past, and with the right Rebbe that brings Daf Yomi alive, it all of a sudden becomes relevant to the present. So it's a connection to the past, and it's relevant to the present.
It's like an unbroken chain, and it's just so satisfying to be able to be part of that, to be able to think that I am learning the same thing that my great-grandfather, Nataleb Gafanovich, that he learned in Kupashuk, in the shtetl in Kupashuk. I'm learning the same thing. Like, how much more can you ask for that?
Boyer Boysa, ihr du alle gehört, als der Beschiss von dem Limit der Yomi von dem Siyum Hashas hat mir begeben, die Schießen von die Kedosche Jönem, sind aber hingekommen auf Kiddush Hashem in dem letzten Chorben. Ich kann auch eines sagen, nur jeder hat sie genommen, die alle es hier bei ihr haben. Wird nur getracht, du hast gehört, als Sachmol, wie jeder hat nämlich gesagt, oi werdet noch mehr Kaddish sagen, oi werdet noch mehr lernen, a Parik Mishnayes. Im Bemeile sehen wir, als kein größere Sache, wie wir zu geben von die Kedosche, dem Limit der Yomi, kein größere Sekuren, kein größere Askure, kein schönere Metzaiwe kämpfer sei wegen nicht da.
One of the jobs of the OU is to really support those who are the grass tops, the Rabbanim, the leaders of each and every shul, so that they can transform the grassroots. They can transform their balabatim, their community. And what we do with the help of Rabbi Elephant and with the various tools that we have is to take the Daf Yomi experience and make it a three-dimensional, a substantive experience. And we're so honored to partner with the Aguda, with the Siyum Hashas, and with the new tools that we're going to be employing for the next round of the Daf. The passion, the dynamism, the excitement, to see people come alive through the experience of the give and take of the Shakla of the Daf Yomi. Not only that, but to see people get exposed to areas of Shas and areas of Yediyas that they've never ever known, that they've never experienced. That's a Geschmack.
Tonight is a very important night in the lives of many people. Certainly in the lives of the Magidi Shurim, in the lives of the Loimdei Daf Yomi, and also in the lives of the people who are going to be now starting again and starting for the first time. And all of us together should take this moment to reflect what the Aguda has done on our behalf, to be the Chsanya Shel Torah for the Siyum Hashas, for the Loimdei Daf Yomi, and to take a moment to thank Hashem, Shechiyanu v'Kimanu v'Giyanu Lazman Hazeh, and use it as a moment for Tefillah La'osid, that all of us together, Gesund Hate, should be Messiah Hashas in 7.5 years again.
אבל הוא לא יכול לחזור בו כבר. עכשיו שאני מוצא את השטר של ראובן ואני בא לנותן ואומר מצאתי, הוא אומר כן, כן, כבר נתתי לו לפני שנתתי לשמעון. והרי בבריא, כיוון שהוא לא יכול לחזור בו, אז הראשון זכה. זה שקיבל ראשון זכה בשטר, במתנה. ואז הוא יגיד, השטר של ראובן תסתכלו, מתי נכתב? בראש חודש ניסן. שמעון אם הוא יוציא שטר, נכתב בראש חודש אייר.
Our Maggid Shir prepared it so well that a hard sugya becomes easy.
I think any Maggid Shir is struck by invariably how there always seems to be a connection between the daf that one is saying and a concept that's found in that week's parsha.
You have to have three people. The Gemara will explain exactly what the three people are. Gezelis v'chabolas b'shloisha. Any kind of damages, any kind of theft is also b'shloisha. Nezek v'chatzi nezek, tashlume kefir, tashlume bava.
I feel like at the shir, I'm not just saying a shir. I'm learning together with a lot of people, and everyone's always got something to add. You got people who know about chickens, people who know about PRs, people who know about kashrus, people who know about psychology. You got people who are lawyers. Everyone's got something to add, so I'm really learning it at the shir. So I prepare the concepts before, but at the shir I'm actually learning.
The Chabur has become a flagship where each of us have not just become friends through the Daf Yomi, but we've attended brisson of children, brisson of grandchildren now, chasnas, and unfortunately the other side of Levias as well. So, but we've become a family.